But I'll introduce who we have on, Carnell. He was on previously, but I kind of want to do something like we did with C's, where we did the music breakdown and kind of still talk about fishing. We're going to do something new. He's going to be like one of the first new YouTube episodes where we're going to do a fish breakdown on video. Dope. So right now you'll be able to see that happen on the YouTube and on Instagram. But we kind of talked about your fishing career before.
Right.
Let's talk about your music, how you got into that, how you broke in, how you got signed, all that.
All right. Well, music, basically, I started writing when I was like 12 years old. Just doing talent shows like at middle school and stuff like that, winning those.
Did you grow up here?
I grew up in Cali and La Puente. That's where I was born and raised. So I went to Edgewood Middle School, but there's a difference between the Edgewood West Covina and the Edgewood La Puente. So sometimes when you say Edgewood, everybody's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, no, not that Edgewood, like the Edgewood and La Puente. So that's where I grew up. And I started as a dancer, though.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, we were all dancers. Like,
what year? How old are you right now?
I'm 45.
So you were around the party, like Fusion, all those party crews?
Oh, yeah.
I was in 8th grade, I think, at that time when the party crew thing happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were all dance crews, like the Soul Jerks, the Lords, like, dude.
I remember that.
We were big dance crews in L.A. and Hollywood. Like, that's how we started before. I was young, dude. I was like one of the youngest ones in the dance crews. Like, damn. With just doing a bunch of different ciphers and stuff like that, and dancing, and like that's along a time with like the Peas, Black Eyed Peas, and the Far Side. We were all dancers.
Alcoholics was kind of around then too, right?
They were around, but they were more MCs. They weren't they weren't dancers the way we were. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, we were like we all had like really dope styles and stuff. We would dress all funky and dope, and we were cliques, and we would always battle at all these different parties and different spots. So that's really how it started. And just being in music my whole life, like I just started writing, dude, when I was like 12. And
so you're young when you started writing?
I was real young when I started writing. Like, I just loved music. Like, I don't come from like a musical family, but like all the music that I loved, like I discovered on my own. Like, I would always be in my room, like banging like reggae. Like, my parents never introduced me to reggae. They're more like Motown, like, yeah. But to me, I'm like, yo, like, that's your music. Like, where's mine at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just started searching, dude, and definitely on the forefront of like hip hop, dude. I was 9 years old when I went to my first Run DMC, and LL was like 16.
Did your dad take you?
My brother took me.
Oh, okay.
Me and my brother went. My brother was like 16, 17 at the time.
Okay, so he kind of influenced you as well, like
me and him actually, he danced too. Like when we were real young, we break together. We used to break dance together, and he stopped early on though. Like after break dancing, like that whole era, like I went into more like when I came to LA, and it was more just like dope, upright. Everybody had like their own style. Like break dancing was like everybody did all of the same.
And there was a lot of rave parties too, where
there was a lot of rave parties, like,
and they would dance crazy, like windmills and shit.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. That was more like, that's when we used to incorporate like your own style of up rock, but also what breaking moves
exactly.
in it. You know what I'm saying? But like the breaking era was more of just like break dancing. Everybody danced the same. Like you had like a slightly different little up rock that you would do, but it wasn't like nothing like when dancing came in, like the Jungle Brothers, dude. Like Def Jeff, like when those cats came, like that's when dancing, like when Big Daddy Kane had his own dancers behind him. Everybody, all of the dancing was different. Like everybody had their own style, So that's really just how it started. Like it was that whole era. And then at 12, like I said, I started writing, man, and just started going into my own little talent shows and stuff like that. And
what were you doing for beats?
So for beats, I had the first beats I would ever like start writing to were beats. Like I would just look, like play records and stuff like that, find little break beats, you know, or always write to instrumentals of other artists that were already out.
Because you got the B-side on the tape that used to have instrumental.
That used to have instrumentals, you know. And then from there, like, just getting with another collective heads that, like, some produce. And then, you know, cats started producing beats. And, you know, they weren't the greatest, but at least we had our own at that time, you know. And then it just evolved from there.
What year did you, like, start getting, like, a good demo together?
I would say a good demo, I would say, like, so I was like around 7th grade when I first started. It was probably like 6th, 7th grade, going into 8th, and probably not to like my freshman year of high school.
Was it a 4-track? Like the one's a little...
I Tascam. I bought my own Tascam.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I bought my own Tascam 4-track, and there was some other heads at my school that spit too, you know what I mean? And we formed this group, and we, from that point on, man, freshman year, like every day, all we did was like write and create music. And one of the heads in my clique he produced as well. So we started producing all our own music. So we didn't even get music from outside, you know, and that's probably why, like.
So you were making your own.
We were making everything.
What were you using? Just fucking recording guitar sounds?
So I started out with like a I think it was called like a DX80. It was like a drum machine.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was like, Alesis? Was it Alesis DX? I think I had one.
Yeah, it was like this big old drum machine. And, you know, at that time, it was like, yo, man, like, it was crazy because we couldn't, you know, we that was like a hand-me-down too, you know, like somebody hooked us up with. Yeah. But, you know, we were just like trying to get like all of the best equipment, but, you know, our parents was like, bro, you guys, like, you know, we're just kids in the room just creating music. They didn't really know it was going to go as far as it did, you know. So we just would do talent shows and stuff like that, and just start networking with people. Like, when people would see you, then they'll, like, right when you get off stage, they'll be like, yo, you know. When we started doing open mics, and then we started getting in like the whole LA scene where, like, The Good Life and, you know, just all of the really dope, Lamert Park, like, where all of the heads were, man. Like, that's where it was right there. It was just so many talented MCs and musicians down there. It's like, it was so inspiring, that whole era. And it's like, it sucks that, like, we don't have that no more. Like, kids is just in their room,
SoundCloud.
That's it. Creating, you know. Nobody, like, that environment isn't there no more. That's why I was like what you did with the toy drive was just so dope to me. Like, it reminded me of like the underground days, just everybody coming together and mingling and just like building on different stuff and just bumping elbows with each other, you know. It was really, really dope.
I think that's missing from everything nowadays, though. I mean, you know, like, you don't get that interaction anymore. Like,
no,
you mean, you still have shows, you can go see people play or do something, but it's those when you're working hard, when there was no Instagram, you had to fucking go to shows.
You had to,
because you had to promote your shit or meet people.
That was the only way, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have like any of that, even with touring. Like, that's how we got our music out.
You
like,
had to tour.
You had to be on foot. You had to be, it just was grimy, you know. You had to be trying to book shows. Like,
you had to have a street team, bro.
Yep. I remember the whole street
remember that
team.
What was it, Beach Street or the magazine? Remember that
Mean Street.
Dude,
that was my first, that's where I got my first deal through.
Really?
My very first deal.
That was a big deal, that fucking magazine. And you would go to Music Revolution was in Santa Fe Springs, and then there was another one that was really good. And that's when, in Uptown Whittier, they had a place.
Oh, yeah.
Then they had clothes, like Dog Pound was a clothing company.
Yeah,
it was like graffiti art clothes.
Yeah, I remember. Mean Street was the very...
And you would go pick that up all the time. Oh, the new Mean Street.
And that's where you would see everybody. You would see the upcoming shows. Like, you would see, what's the... like Guerrilla Union, whatever.
But they did a little bit of everything. It wasn't just hip hop.
It wasn't just hip hop.
Everything. Yeah,
they were doing everything, because also we had got a deal through the BC Street label was Grand Royal. I had to deal with Grand Royal.
So talk about how that's a big fucking deal, dude.
Yeah, so it was, and even with the Mean Street deal, that was a huge distribution, dude. That was through Abbey Roads. You know what I mean? That's That's the biggest distribution.
Were you guys recording your own stuff at the same time?
We were recording all of our own stuff.
Okay.
Everything, you know. And this was, it was like a collective heads. Like, there was like, we were more like a Wu-Tang Clan, for instance. Okay. You know, it was called The Mystics at the time. And it was a bunch of groups together and a few single artists as well that did music, and we all formed together in order to make, and we did an album, you know, and that's what we got our very first deal through before I got my deal outside just with my single group, you know what I mean? So it was my group members, and then my group was called Non-Human Intelligence, and there was another group that was called Phase 2, and then there was a solo artist named Express. He's still doing, that's my boy, dude. He's still doing music now. And my boy Oki too, still doing music now. They're like, they all came through the LA scene as well. And that was the group, and we were called The Mystics. Okay. And that's what we got our very first record deal through. And that's when I was doing a lot of touring, rocking a lot of shows with you know, Hieroglyphics, Dilated Peoples, Far Side. I mean, dude, Eminem, like when Eminem first got on the scene, we rocked the show with him.
How was that?
It was crazy because
Did you know who he was already though?
At the time, no. Like we knew of him kind of, but dude, he was so like low key, like nobody really, it was on the very front of his career. I remember this little white dude getting on stage with like a dingy shirt, and he got on stage. He was like, "Hi, my name is," and everybody was just like, "Who is this cat?" You know, like it wasn't even dope. You know what I mean? You were like, "Oh my gosh, really?" But dude, I mean, look where he is now. Like, it doesn't even matter. But that was like I didn't know how raw he was until I started really looking at his underground stuff,
and it was good,
and it was really dope. Like I started looking at all his battles, and I'm like, dude, this dude's the truth, you know? Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You get the wrong impression sometimes when you get on a label. It's different. It's like what me and you were talking about earlier. It's like it comes to the point where you're not doing what you want to do. You're doing what they want you to do.
It's just like sponsorship for anything, like fishing. Like
that's how when
you sign to someone. They're probably like, "Hey, you got to go sing this My Name Is song everywhere." He's like, "Fuck that." Well, guess what? We're paying you fucking millions. Exactly. So go do it, you know?
And that's exactly. And we were just like, all right, because we were underground MCs. Like, we got up not having a major deal. We had a deal with Mean Street, which we had all creative ability to do whatever we wanted, which was so dope. It's exactly why we chose that deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it wasn't a deal with Dre or nothing like that. But so he gets up there, he started Buster. It was a lot of
did you go
Buster
too?
was there. It was a big lineup, really dope lineup, dude. And I just remember like rocking all of those old shows, and man.
You know that? Did you ever go play with the guys from Psycho Realm?
Never did.
They were like down here my way more.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I remember Psycho Realm used to do a lot of shows with like Cypress Hill though. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a buddy, Gel Rock. You ever heard of him?
Gel Rock.
He's been around for a minute. I recorded him like 20 years ago by Mothers.
Really?
Yeah, because I started dating my wife, and my brother-in-law was this big tagging crew. It's called LSD. And he was in it forever. So I started meeting all these dudes, and they're like, "Yo, you got a recording studio in your garage now?" Because I was recording hardcore bands, you know?
Yeah.
And punk bands. You wanna run into these guys, and it was like 20 years ago. I didn't really know anything about like hip hop, so I was listening to it, but I did not record. It's a different deal.
Yeah, for sure. Than
just doing like rock. A hardcore or something like, you know?
That stuff's just all the levels just up, just banging, you know what I mean?
But like a vocal mic could play the biggest fucking deal. Like if you don't have the right one.
I always tripped out on like I've been like we recorded one time in Lincoln Park's, like in the same studio, but it was the Product Room, I think it was called, in Hollywood. They were like a few doors down, but I always wondered what a session, because just the screaming so much, like how would the vocal cords be, you know?
Not hard. I toured with hardcore bands, and the singers in my band I grew up with, he Ended up being Bruno Mars security for a while, actually.
Damn.
And he, I mean, if you have it, you have it. Now, that's if you're screaming from your gut. Now, there's dudes that you hear those, that shit. Nah, that shit goes away. I known 2 guys in bands that stopped being in the band because they lost their voice.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, you're going to lose your voice. You keep fucking doing this. So you got to scream from like your gut.
Yeah,
so
where,
you sound
where
like
it comes from, exactly.
So like Linkin Park, it sounds like him, you know, or even like a Limp Bizkit or whatever that you want to say. But there's dudes,
Fred Durst.
Yeah,
I remember we did
Did you
show.
really?
Yeah, back in the day, dude.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
He wanted to be more like an MC, but he kind of went into.
And he'd rather make millions and millions of dollars.
He went into more like the alternative stuff, but it fit him, bro. He became real successful at that. Yeah.
So you got to run into all these people when you're up and coming on touring.
Yeah.
Doing some big tours. Did you ever go on tours with dudes where you're like, these guys suck, and you thought they were cool?
It's always that, you know what I mean? Like, even the guys that were like, there's even guys that, you know, were like, they're on, because, you know, time slots was like a big deal back then.
Don't run the light. Don't run the fucking light.
Yeah. Or even where your slot was. Like, you would show up and, you know, you would check out where your slot was, and you notice the guys under you are obviously like, you're bigger than them. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So like time slot, like you being closer to the end of the night, that's when the venue was more packed. Yep. So you kind of knew your status by like, where you were. You
wanted to be either, if there were 6, you wanted to be 4 and up.
Yep.
4, 5, or 6.
Exactly.
And then you'd never wanted to shit on anyone under, because you never know.
You never know, dude. That's
because
what
you're going to shit on someone, and that dude's going to get way bigger than that down. Will get way
I've
bigger.
seen a lot of cats that were like underneath, but I thought, dang, these cats are dope. But they just weren't there yet because it hadn't been enough time. You know what I mean? I knew it was coming, you know, because you can never mistake talent, bro. Like, if you're dope, you're dope. Like, regardless, like, people are gonna notice it really quick. So that was like the thing. So your time slot, or like where you were located, or how big your name was on the flyer. You know what I'm saying? On a promotion,
people ain't gonna remember this. You know how this shit feels, dude.
Yeah, it's a trip, because it was like you know, the flyers would come out, like the promotion would come out. You would see where you were, and like how many down, or how, because you know it went in stages. It was the very big, like bold. And then it was like that middle, what would you say it is? Like the font size. Yes. That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was like, it all dealt on like how big the font was. It was like that big bold font. Then it went to that middle range font. Then it went to like that fine little like
and one where it said 21 and over, and then your name was kind of next to it.
And it was all of those on the line. So, you know, it was a lot of different stuff, man. It's like those days, I mean, some of that's kind of still around, but not as much as it used to be, man.
Yeah. When did you, so when you signed with Carnell, right? Mm-hmm. How did that come about, and how did that change everything?
So a lot of the deals came about just touring and doing shows, and always being approached like after the show. Because obviously, like, whenever you rock shows, depending on like what headline you were walking with, like, there was always industry heads in the crowd, dude, and backstage too, all the time, no matter what. So you always had to be like, you just always had to be on your game, you know what I mean? When it came to ripping the show, like we always wanted to rip so hard, like the people coming on after us is like, or before or after us is like, dang, man, you know?
Hey, thanks for fucking it up.
Exactly. And like those headlines were like, yo, we're right there too. We could rock it just as hard as they can. So that's a lot of how the deals came, because the funny thing is, like, now all of the kids have music out. Like, we never had music out.
You had to go see him.
You had to go see him, and like you had music out. Like, to get on the radio and stuff like that was like, it was tough, dude. And you had to be somebody known. You had to have a deal. It wasn't like now where, dude, you just go on YouTube or you go on Spotify, or, you know, like, it was a big deal then, you know, like, to get your stuff heard.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part. So what we used to do is, like, we would look at all the college, you know, college radio was like,
no, that was a big deal. Even
that was a big deal, dude.
For everything, yeah.
Straight up, like, that's where the upcoming artists were heard. To me, the college radio was always doper than
of course.
Mainstream radio. Like that's where you heard the
because
really
the only thing
dope
you had
artists.
on mainstream was like Power 106.
Yeah, you know, so they didn't really play the raw stuff. Like even the cats that were more known always wanted their stuff played on the college radio because that was your, you know, that was your audience. That was the people that you wanted to reach, like the college kids, you know? So we used to rock college shows all the time. It was some of the dopest shows we ever rocked were college shows. Yeah. Like going to the college and ripping shows.
Like you had the barn. You ever play the barn? I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
That was a cool venue.
Yeah.
Because it looked like a fucking barn inside.
Straight up.
Know? Then there was the one in, there was one in LA that was really good.
UCR. Was it UCR?
Riverside? Or no, UCR.
I remember UCR was big too at one time.
Was that towards LA more?
No, I think UCR, was it? What was it? I know it's something with UC though.
I know there was a couple good like colleges that had great venues. Really
great and really good followings on college radio, dude.
Yeah.
Really, really good followings on college radio. Up north too. I remember up north we used to go up north and it was the same thing. Like those college radio stations were huge, man. Like everybody used to bang them, you know?
Yeah.
So you were always trying to get your stuff played on those college radio stations. Like that's where it started.
Were you guys hustling doing that yourself as well?
We were like in the very beginning stages. And then like when our following started to get pretty big, like we obviously got like, you know, a manager and, you know, then we had a street team and stuff like that. And pretty much like our only job was just to create, man.
Make music.
Yeah, just make music. And like everybody else was doing the footwork and, you know, doing all of because as an artist, dude, honestly, it's, you know how it is. It's in order to do everything, it's hard. It takes you away. That's, for instance, for you, like,
I don't get to fish as much.
You know what I'm saying? Or doing everything within the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to do every single thing, you know, it takes time. So like, and maybe that happening, like you editing, like you can't do as many episodes as you would want to because you just don't have the time.
Or one thing lacks. One thing will lack. Like I don't have the YouTube because I don't have the time for that. The audio's easy because that's what I do. Yeah. I know how to do, so I could bang it out really quick. But with the YouTube, it's like you got to sit there. And these guys know, everyone that has a channel, like, even if you make a 6-minute video, that might take you fucking an hour to do the color correction, add the audio, make sure your titles are in, you know, like, so all that is tedious, especially trying to get, I remember trying to get shows, dude, back in the day. It was a fucking bitch in the beginning. Hard, man. Until you find that one dude that likes your band.
Yep, the promoter, you know, you find a good promoter that has a good, you know, venue that he does once a month or something like that, you know. And then just finding all of them, like, you know, back in the day, like House of Blues was always really dope, dude. Yeah. Or the Knitting Factory. Like,
Knitting Factory is cool.
We used to rock the Knitting Factory all the time.
You ever play a Glass House?
God, dude. Some of my best shows was there.
That was the biggest show I think I played locally. I played a sold out Glass House. And that was, dude, that place was fun.
Oh, dude. We did one with Hieroglyph. It was Hieroglyphics, Living Legends. It was us. Like, bro, you talking about
that was block,
one, dude. That was one of my favorite shows right there.
And that a cool backstage,
just so dope. All of us just chilling and hanging and dude, and then packed, dude. Like, you remember, you used to walk up, you would see the fogged out windows.
Yeah, right.
You knew it was packed in there because you would like walk up, you be like, dude, it's cracking tonight.
That's a great venue.
It was really dope. And you remember next to that was a Fox Theater that was closed. Yeah. Do you remember when they reopened that?
No, I didn't.
Dude, I rocked it when they reopened
cool
it.
Shit?
It was so dope. Cause we did it.
I did remember because it was right behind it. Right.
It was right. It was to the right of it.
Okay, yeah.
To the right. Depending if you're looking directly at the Glass House. It was to the left and the back.
Yes, that was
on that next street.
Yes. I can't remember.
On that next street.
I remember. Fuck,
because dude, that whole art district was sick, dude. Like,
no, it is. Yeah,
we had a spot. You remember that High-Wise, the white like Wells Fargo building? It was right across the street. Yeah. And they like cleared it out, and there was a lot of studios in there, dude. Like, we used to rock.
They ended up opening more. There's more venues. Like, there's one called Aladdin Juniors. It was a restaurant. That whole venue next to it, I played there. Like, gosh, probably like 10 years ago.
Dang.
Like,
that's
the last time I played
real.
Probably like, God, right before I started podcasting, probably 6 years ago, was at the Union. Is in LA? Is that what it's called?
Dang.
Union Theater. That was a reunion deal. Like I played.
Shit.
But it was cool. It was like 1,000 people. It was like fucking awesome.
The last show I rocked, bro, honestly, was probably like 2010, maybe.
Did you get nervous?
2010, not at all. Else is like, this is when my group was like pretty much in our prime, just about before we broke up.
Oh, that was the last show, pretty much.
Yeah, it was like we had Coachella lined up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we had Coachella.
So let's go back. I'm gonna be like, what about the graphic? We'll talk about the fucking, the big record label deal first,
dude. So
you signed with them. Was it like a game changer when you signed with the big record label?
It was and it wasn't, because it was at a time where like you had to work a lot, bro. You really did. It wasn't as easy as people would think, and like that money is more of like a signing bonus. You know what I mean? It's not like you making all this crazy money, especially back then.
Yeah.
Like, and the difference is like the kids now, bro, they're making money off the back because they're selling their own music. There's no label involved. There's no middleman, nothing.
They're making everything themselves.
They're making everything themselves from the studios, or like, dude, how easy is it to build a studio now?
Dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a little bit of equipment, the stuff sounds great. You just got to learn the ins and outs and how to record and how to engineer your stuff. Like my old spot in Rancho that I had, dude, I had a full on studio in there.
Did you have your own studio?
Yeah, sound room and everything at my house. Down below,
yeah,
I had a 3-story, and the bottom one was
all studio,
just all studio, dude.
Yeah,
dope sound room.
Do you know how to do all of it yourself still?
Yes. As far as recording,
do you still record your stuff yourself?
I don't record my stuff myself anymore. Like, I got a lot of people that have studios, big studios, and I just hit them up, yo, let me get in for an hour. Yeah. So I'll get like the tail end of somebody's slot, like, yo, let me know, because I know it's not gonna take me long. You know what I mean? I'm just right now, I'm not really like recording all kinds of songs. I do just like little drops. You know what I mean? Like just little verses, just to stay creative, just to release a lot of creative.
But that's like your hobby.
Thoughts in my in my brain. Yeah, like, dude, that's the way I like. Like, I always just like to be creative, you know what I mean? If I'm not doing anything at all, it bugs dude. It drives me crazy. So it's like I always have to just write or do something, and like just to be creative. So I won't like create a whole song. I'll just like, dude, that beat's dope right there. Like, I'm gonna drop something on that.
Yeah, no, I get.
And
it's like making the video, like a cast to cast, kind of like, ooh, look at this good fish.
Yep.
That's all I'm gonna show. Like,
exactly. And like, so I just now I'll like hear a dope track, and I'll like, and now just because like the fishing industry is like what I'm involved with, like that's what I spit about. Like, that's what I enjoy talking about. You know what I mean? So that's why I rap about it. Like, I don't rap about any other stuff because I'm not really like pursuing a career in music. So I just spit about fishing shit.
It's your life,
and just
right now this is all you're into. This is
and just let all of the heads just hear it, and whoever else, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's what's fun and dope to me right now. So that's why I only do like fishing related stuff. Did you ever
get to meet the dudes from the Beastie Boys?
I never did. Never, even being on Grand Royal.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, never. Just because it was tough because of them just being in New York.
Right.
It was real tough because like they're obviously really, really huge, and they were on their grind, you know what I'm saying? And like for us, it was more just like we were just still hard on our grind, man.
They had a big label though where you dealt with like a management company.
Yes, you had management and stuff like that. They had everything.
That's crazy.
They were
Did you record at their studio?
No, we still recorded here but we always rented out blocks like at all of the top studios here in in Hollywood and LA and stuff like that. There's a lot.
I worked at 3 good ones. forgot the name of them. I worked at Racehorse, which did like stuff for like Goldfinger. And then I worked at another one, interned. I forgot the name. It was fucking big, like AFI. Like it was big. People came in. Yeah, but I mean, I used to love recording. Now my ears are fucked. I have permanent tinnitus in my ear, so 2 hertz, I'm losing it.
Oh my god,
just ringing all the time.
Yep.
So now I'm like, fuck. So I had even my neighbors like, hey, you think you could make some audio shit? I'm like, not to what I could, like I can make it sound pretty good, but not to like remembering like all the sound.
Yeah.
Missing that little high end might be a little different.
It's a lot to it, man. You gotta have an ear for it,
Fuck
you definitely gotta have an ear for it.
Oh, it's a bitch, and there's a whole nother side to it, dude. There's this thing called mastering.
Oh,
that can really fuck you.
And that's like that's what's funny, because you have an engineer that engineer the music, and then it goes to mastering.
Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So the dude that just recorded my, we just redid the intro. He's like the premier mastering engineer for vinyl. His name's Nick Townsend. He works at Infrasonic in LA.
Okay.
So he owns a big studio, and he's played in all these big punk bands and stuff. But they just re-recorded the whole intro for me.
Damn,
so I'm like, it sounds fucking just the quality. Because before I had my son do it here, so I had him play the drums, I played the guitar, and it was the best I could.
Yeah,
and it sounds fine, but it's not that full.
Yeah, it doesn't have that body, that fullness,
so
that fullness to it.
He recorded 2 different versions, and I'm like.
And you hear the difference, you're like, man.
I heard it through the phone. I played it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking sick.
Just that fullness, dude. It was always like that. Like you notice too when you listen to other people's music. Like one music that always stuck out to me is like everything that Dre like. Dude, he just has that freaking where his stuff just. It's so much body to it. I don't care. You could play one album from somebody else and throw in something from Dre, dude, and it's just like, dude,
it's good. Did you ever meet him?
Good. Yes, I have met Dre
cool
before.
Dude.
Yes, cool. Yeah. But I never like.
No.
Like where I'm sitting down, like I'm talking to you right now. You know what I'm
saying? Was more like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, because not only that, like my group was just on another level.
You guys weren't the same genre.
Like we didn't really run with like the whole gangster rap era. Yeah. And like we ran into them here and there on shows, you would see them, but like our stuff was more like underground stuff, you know what I mean? Like shit from like Wu-Tang Clan, Far Sides, Della Funky Homo Sapien, the whole hieroglyphics, Souls of Mischief, Dilated Peoples, all of those dope, just like Tribe Called Quest, De La. Yeah. Like that's who we used to like run with. Damn. You know what I mean? We never like, that was just a whole totally different genre of music. Like Dre's whole side of stuff. You know what I mean?
When you signed, did you get a big recording like a
budget?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, was it like, oh, this is going to be a game changer because I'm not sure what mic you're using before. Maybe you could use a Neumann now.
It was definitely like every mic that I would do. It was all Neumanns, bro. Yeah. Like top of the line. You know what I mean? Like the quality was just ridiculous, and it was just more having a budget to go to those higher end.
So did you guys wrote the beats already? So you didn't need.
We produced also. We always just brought like just all of our disc and stuff like that. Like. Different not disc meaning CD disc. Like dude, there was times though I used to record on reel, bro. Do you remember that era?
Reel?
On reel? Yeah, like actual reels.
Yeah, I had one.
Like 2-inch. Like
I kept mine. So when I went to school for sound engineering, this was 99. I had to learn how to align the reel machine, the core, or 2-inch reel machine. So I had to sit there, and you had to tune each channel, 24 channels. I was like,
yep, it was.
This, dude.
I remember that. Like,
but the sound.
You see us walking through the studio, like getting out the car, and we got like the reels in our hands.
And that
like,
shit ain't cheap either.
It's not, bro. When it came like all digital, it was a game. But like that's what I'm saying.
But like, I think that the
sound still. Oh, bro.
So warm.
Yeah.
So warm.
Such
and that's
a
what I used to do
still.
is I would track drums with the reel, then I'll dump it in Pro Tools because it just sounded so much bigger.
It just had for sure, like that sound.
Maybe not now. I don't know.
It's just different. Yeah. I'm sure there's still artists that want that sound, so they do it still. You know what I mean? Yeah, straight up. Like I used to that's what my group, a lot of our stuff in the beginning was on. Reel to reel. Straight up.
Because you could buy that Tascam. There was an 8-channel reel to reel that had 1/4-inch tape.
Right.
And that was a great one too.
That was. We had that, the smaller one, and then we had the big one too.
You guys went and bought a big one, huh?
Yeah. We had the big the studio that we were at had it. Okay. So we actually we'll track on it.
Damn,
so we used to buy them.
So you would track your beats like onto the 2-inch machine? That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. It was that's what I'm saying. Like, I like that, being so early on, like, I got to see a lot of that and experience a lot of that,
How long did that so your first album was what on Grand Rail?
The first album was called Remnants of a Lost Culture. That was the one with the Mystics.
Okay.
That was the one where all of us as a group, you know what I mean? And that was the name of the album. And we had Black Eyed Peas on there. We had Rozelle from The Roots on there. We had Ab Rude on there. We had who else? Really dope LA artists, which was Abstract Rude, Medusa. We had AC Alone from Freestyle Fellowship on there.
Damn, dude, that's wild.
Yeah, we had Will.i.am from the Peas was on there. Who else did we have on that album, dude?
How long did that one take you to record?
Oh, dude, we did that one. We did that one like our right out of high school.
Shit, dude.
Right out of high school, like summer going.
So you weren't working; you're just straight touring. Like just that straight. Was it.
Yep. Fuck. And that beginning, dude, was straight out of high school. You know what I mean? Like, just on the grind with that first deal, and then we did.
And that was on Grand Rail. 19, you guys got signed then. You're 18,
yeah,
19?
I was like 19 years old.
So you guys got 18. Signed really young.
Really young, dude.
Fuck.
Because we have been doing this since our freshman year.
Yeah.
So that
did the Mean Street, did that come on 16? How old were you then?
No, the Mean Street came on right out of high school. That's the one right out of high school.
Okay, and then the Grand Rail
came out after that one because Mean Street lost distribution with Abbey Roads.
Okay.
And then that deal got terminated, and then that's when we went.
Oh, so this is within like a year or something?
It was like 2 years.
Fuck.
It was like 2 years because it was one album. We were already working on the second one. We finished it completely too. And I had already toured, and we used to always, have the meetings and see everywhere our music was charting and stuff like that. Like you always going to it. It was a big map they had.
Yeah, I remember.
Like they would always use like thumbtacks, you know what I mean? And like you would have your little flag on there, and you would see everywhere your music was like charting, bro. And it's like, dang, what, we way in Hawaii? Like used to always trip out.
I do that shit now when I look at the numbers and I go,
that's what I'm saying.
Fucking Japan, bro.
That's what's dope. You able to see that yourself.
Yeah.
The only times we ever got to see it, it was when we sat down with the label.
Yeah.
Everything was just so like, it wasn't accessible at that time.
Which is kind of a nice thing because
you just don't know, So you just keep working, man. You just keep working, keep grinding. Like in the back of your mind, none of that's, you're not thinking about that. Mm-hmm. You're just constantly creating and rocking shows. Like, what's the next show? Like, and the label's working, your street team's working, and you're just constantly trying to get more and more. And it just, because it was all about getting your music out there. Like, you didn't have the luxury of like sitting in your room or on the couch and like getting your stuff out there easily. Like, just
or getting on Pro Tools real quick, drop a beat in there, record something. You could fucking do it anywhere. Yeah. Remember being in the closet when I was younger? Yeah. Dude, to be in the closet because you kill all the sound.
Dudes, I mean, artists now, they travel and they record. They have mobile studios where they record on the road while they're like, come on, like, dude. We never had that ability. Ours was just always raw footwork, man. You know?
How many albums did you sell on the first go around?
On the first go around, I think we were like a little on the go. We're like 300 something.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Dude. Isn't that crazy though? Like That's a big deal, dude.
And back then, though, that was like reaching gold was like
big deal, dude.
Big deal.
What's platinum?
Platinum is a $1 million.
Is there a silver? Is there?
So there's not really a silver. It's a gold. So 500,000 is gold.
Gold. Okay.
You know. So 500,000.
But you're still like, did you get it all framed? Everything done?
No, because the only one. So I do have a frame that I have the album frame of my very first release, and that album I do have those framed. Yeah. But like I never got the gold album. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like never got that gold album just because of like everything that happened. You know, like the label losing distribution, and then like.
So maybe if that label wouldn't have lost distribution, you might have hit 500.
Right, because you figure like your first back then, like your first drop, man, is more of like you kind of still getting yourself out there. Like the artists nowadays, a lot of their work, you hear it sometimes when like these kids have been working for years, you know, and you don't really start hearing them until they become really popular.
That one TikTok song.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shoot. But then you look at you're like, what? Who is this cat? And you look at their background, and they've been grinding, bro, for a while. So it's different now. Like their grind is totally different than ours was, because ours was more like mobile. So it took a little bit longer. You know, we had to be putting out material, but like we don't put out material the way they do now. Like these cats have dropped like 100 songs and like freaking.
Dude, isn't it wild?
It's insane the way these artists are just putting out.
But I guess they're getting paid completely differently.
And it's really what they're trying to do in the beginning stages is saturate the industry. Like in order to get known, you have to. And like the thing about putting out a lot of music is that
it's so funny because what you're talking about relates to fishing.
Yes, it does, man.
It's like
you got to think like you don't say, for instance, like say Working Class Zero, like how many battle shads have you seen like how many different
But he does a
stages,
different thing. So this is one thing that Mike does differently. He doesn't saturate the market. I don't think. Which
is good.
Could be good, but it could be like for other companies that I feel like a Guggen can do that.
Right.
And they're going to do very good at it because they have hands everywhere, you know?
But I'm saying more of like how many like what he went through to get to the point where he felt comfortable with releasing it. You know what I'm saying? So do you feel
like a lot of the new guys put out shit sometimes?
They do, because you got to think, you don't get it right in the beginning. Like you don't get that hit. Like your first song you put out is not going to be a hit. Typically it won't be a hit. You know what I mean? So that's why they record so much. And you notice that a lot of artists, like when it comes to an album, they'll be like, dude, we recorded like 80 songs and only 10 or 15 made, you know?
Yeah.
And 15 songs on an album is a lot these days. Do you remember back in the day, bro?
Just like 12, 10. You know, you'd buy some, be like, oh, there's 7 songs on this.
Yeah, you're like, what now, dude? Like albums aren't.
Or even having the right guy on your song. So like, I was at recording engineer school, and this dude did this song. I said, what's that they say about the West Coast? Remember that song?
What's that they say about
the West Coast? Hey, like, I don't know who did it. Dude is from LA.
Mm-hmm.
So he said they were recording it, okay? And he's like, this fucking dude comes in the room and goes, yo, let me get on that. And he's like, nah, man, we're cool. He's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. He's like, do you know who that is? They're like, who? That's Tupac. He's like, fuck, we should have had him go. You know, like a couple months later, Tupac blows up.
Blew up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like having that one guy on your song could have just pumped your shit up.
And so a lot of times too, like in our day, obviously, like it wasn't really about how much. Now it's like they're paying.
Oh, to get on that.
Get on it.
Yeah.
Like
back then it was more
of like,
you out.
Yep,
like, I like you.
Like how cool you were with these cats, or if they really thought your stuff was dope, you know what I mean? Or, you know, like, yo, yeah, I'll hop on that. Like now it's not that way. It's like even friends are like, yo,
how much you got, bro?
Exactly. Cause they know like these cats, they're making bread, bro. Like they really are. Like the money aspect of it isn't what it used to be.
nowadays.
Now it's money, like a lot of money in the industry versus.
So how are you making money then instead of like selling records?
Just from your shows, man. The same
so
way that
just putting shows on.
That's why you see a lot of the artists like the old homies like say Farside or Souls of Mischief and High Roll. Like these cats are still doing shows overseas. That's how they stay alive, bro. That's how they still make money. Like they have classic songs that will never will last till the day of time, you know, like till time ends, you know, like these cats, they had those hits to where like they still perform them. It's just like the same way with like say Guns N' Roses or freaking, you know, like see, and that's the thing too, like rock music never really put a age on their music. Hip hop did. Like especially in the early stages, like if you weren't like this young cat coming up, like you are old artists, like the kids cared nothing about you. They were always on like what these younger artists are doing. So that's one thing that, you know, hip hop did wrong is by putting the age. Rock has never had an age, which is a very good thing, because a lot of the rock artists, bro, they still going. You know what I mean?
Like Rolling Stones, they're fucking wheelchairs.
The Rolling Stones are still, bro, and their music's like, you know, the Beatles, like they never freaking put a timeline or like a age on their music.
But maybe because hip hop's so new. You know what I'm saying? It's because rock's been classic rock.
Yeah, so long.
You know, Elvis, fuck, man. You know, like, but nowadays I feel like my son, like, he'll be listening to Eminem or Dr. Dre, old shit.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, and he's 17. And I mean, he's heard me listen to it.
Yeah.
But he's doing it on his own.
Right.
Like, I'll hear him put something on in the car, it'll be Tupac.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, it's still there. You know, like where these kids will be like, oh, I still like that. But I think it's barely starting to happen now.
Yeah. But a lot of those artists, a lot of the artists too, like he's playing Eminem, but he's playing the younger Eminem. You know what I'm saying? When Eminem was like, not now. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's what they do. They go back to like,
do you think anyone's
around their time
done it that good?
I think the only one really that has done it is probably Jay-Z.
That kept relevant the whole time.
Dude, look at him. He's Jay-Z's the only one that's really, and then two, he has like, he hasn't put out a project in a while, but I think he's done it but you still have your artists that are still doing stuff, like Slick Rick still does little shows. Dana Dane like still does shows. You know what I mean? A lot of the artists too are starting to freaking come back, dude. They're starting to come back and do music again.
You know what's crazy? You'll hear like, I don't keep up with much like new shit. So like, I don't know whose song it was, Meg Thee Stallion or fucking, but it was like a fucking Too Short beat.
Oh yeah.
Like, what the fuck is a Too Short song?
That's what they do, man.
How much are they getting paid though? Yep. I'm sure you're paying for the fucking.
Oh, for sure. Like that's definitely.
But you're hearing the music come back around. Yep. It's like, oh, so then your kid might be listening and be like, "They ain't fucking whatever that fucking lady is. It's a Too Short beat." You know, like
they definitely had to get that cleared, and but it's helping those artists, pay their bills, man.
Or make that song relevant again, like when people are listening.
And then you notice that too when something like that happens. Like the younger kids will go back to where the original was, and then you'll see those that person's like Spotify like just like blow up for a second there, and which is really cool. Or like too, when artists pass away, I don't understand that. Like, dude, when they pass, bro, their music just
goes through the
roof, bro. Yeah. Like regardless, doesn't matter if they were hot or nothing. When somebody finds out it's like a tragic type of death or they pass away, now it's just like, dude, boom, their page is like everybody wants to know who they were, and I never really knew who was that.
Because you have that at your hands now with Instagram and social media. You can look at, I'm sure everyone like Bob Saget died. They probably looked up his wife, his daughter, see what they're saying. They want to hear that.
They want to hear. It's a trip, man.
It's fucking crazy. It's a new way of life.
Yeah. And it just helps, their whatever their product is, you know what I mean? And then it helps the family as well. Because it's going, to the family, obviously.
That's So what about your peak? When did you feel like you did the best? Where you were like, "Fuck, this is it."
I think. Well, it was like I said in 2010, dude. Like we had.
You went out on your fucking shield. Then you fucking were out when you guys stopped and broke up. You were on the up and up.
Yes, we were.
Okay.
We were at we were just about at our prime, dude. Like that's why it was such a hard like breakup for us, because like we were doing it. There was Coachella. We had.
So you were doing it for 10 years though, like grinding pretty hard.
Yeah, because it was out of high school, and then when we lost that deal with that group, the Mystics, after that, like we all kind of like started breaking away and doing our own thing, and that's when my group, Non-Human Intelligence, we broke away, and we started grinding on our own. You know what I mean? And we had like a 5-piece band, and we really started rocking a lot of shows and doing really good, dude. Our music really started taking off, and we rocked with a 5-piece band live for a while, and then after that, like a lot of the stuff that we were producing, the band was playing, so we still had the music and the rights to the music. So we just started when we weren't rocking with the 5-piece band no more, we just stuck to just us, because you know how it is, dude. It's pretty expensive. You got to think about like, okay, it was 3 vocalists and then a 5-piece band. That's 8 people. So you got to think about money wise of what it takes to feed a machine like that. You know what I mean? So it was like, dude, like, and we weren't making that type of money where it was just like, it was worth it for us. Like, cause it was really just the shows that made it really dope to rock live. You know what I mean?
You're breaking even, but you're going tour just breaking even pretty much.
Yeah, we were making a little bit of money, but it came down to the point where like, this is what sparked it. Like, it was 3 vocalists and it was a 5-piece band. And we started coming down to signing contracts. And the band is like, well, it was 5 of them. It was only 3 of us. But like, we created NHI, Non-Human Intelligence. But like, it was more of them that stuck together as a band. So it was like, wait a minute, like 3 and 5, do the math. So they were like, they were the majority if we were trying to do it as a whole.
Yeah.
And then when we were like, yo, like, you guys got to be your separate entities now. You guys are just have to be paid musicians. Like, you guys can't, Non-Human Intelligence can't be a whole of all 8 of us. Like, no, this is not working. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because like, when it came down to like the money and like splitting it, these fools were like, it was 5 of them, so they were making more than when
the 3 of you are. Yeah,
that
did the footwork,
that did everything.
Yeah,
creating all the music and the songs. We wrote them, like we produced them, and then had them play them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There was like maybe one or 2 songs that they came up with on their own that they wrote, musically, that we were like, all right, cool, that's dope. And it just didn't end well.
That was when it started?
That was just the 5-piece. That was with the band. Okay. So then we had to drop the band, and we had to reinvent ourselves again, because everybody knew us as this live group, and like we were taking that route and starting to record that route. And now it's like we couldn't agree when it came to contracts and stuff, and we had to drop them. So it was like, shoot, okay, now we got to start all over again. So now it's like, all right, now let's get back to just producing our own stuff and marketing our own stuff. And I remember it was an MTV competition, and we submitted our music, dude. And we were going up like against Rick Ross or one of his artists, like all of these big artists, right? And we won, dude.
Yeah.
We won a competition which put our music video on MTV. So we had 2 videos on MTV. And everything just started happening from that point. We got like all these interviews, like with Vibe magazine, and just.
Did you save all this shit?
I have a lot of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, yeah. I have a lot of that stuff.
That's
dude.
Cool.
And like that's when people really started to find out like who we were as Non-Human Intelligence. You know what I mean? And that's when we booked like Coachella, and we started rocking like a lot of really dope shows. And that's when like we we called it quits, man.
What did you do for music? Just had a track play?
Yeah, well,
you just kind of, instead of having the band, you just had a track play.
Yeah, we had a track. Well, we had a DJ.
DJ, okay.
Yeah, we had a DJ. So at that time, Serato was big. So all of our stuff was like on Serato. Yeah. So he played all of our tracks live still, you know, and a bunch of scratching and mixing our tracks. And we did like the We the People festival, and that was with like Murs. That was what, dude, that one was huge, man. That one was such a dope festival when we did We the People. And yeah, like that was like the tail after the We the People, like that Coachella was up next, and then another we had like radio, what was those? Radiotrons?
I think I remember.
Yeah, the ones that was like at the Orange Show.
Yeah.
Ones, yeah.
Okay.
So all of the Guerrilla Union stuff, we used to rock those too. All of those big festivals, you know, when they would like have Outkast, or they would have freaking, they would have like Black Star, you know, just all of the really dope stuff. So it was just in that time, dude, when.
And it just was too hard to
it was just along, like, it was more of like, at that time, it came to where like I just had my son, and then one of my other artists, he just had a kid. He had a boy too, and like, so like, and the studio was at my house, and we went to other studios, but it just came hard. Like they would show up to record, but like me and my other member was the ones doing all the engineering, all of the mixing, and like starting to like do a lot of the writing. Like before, like he would write his verse all the time, but like creating the song, like you got to have a hook, you got to have a track, there's a, you got to create a concept, you know what I mean? It's all starts there before like just writing a verse. And it was
probably your kid kind of made you make a choice somewhat too, right?
It was, because I know what my daughter went through, like when I was really busy with all of this touring.
How old your daughter?
My daughter's 25.
Oh, so she fucking was in the middle.
She was in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no. So it was like, she been through, like, I got pictures of her in the studio with me, you know what I mean? And her on the mic recording stuff with me. Because I remember we had this, we got a deal where we for the soundtrack of Dr. Dolittle.
No way. What song? Do you have a song on there?
So I've been looking for the song, because we never.
How many times you watched Dr. Dolittle?
Well, we didn't submit the song because we hated it so much.
Was it corny as shit?
It was so corny, bro. And like our management was mad at us, everything, because we were just like, hell no, dude. We like, you know what I'm saying? That's what it just came down to, like, yeah, the money's good, but what is it for your
integrity,
your image? And it was whack.
Yeah,
it really was. Like, yeah, the verses were pretty dope because we were dope MCs, you know, but like the sound of it was all kiddie, and like we had kids in it. It wasn't dope to us.
Yeah,
the management loved it. You know, everybody loved it, but we were just like, I'm sorry, like,
this ain't us. Yeah.
This ain't us. We cannot do this. We can't do this. So that was something big that we threw away too. And then I did one of them I did by myself was when Krell Tap was really big back in the day. It's a skate, whole skate. This is before like Lupe, Drop, Kick, Push. I did a skate song too. And we had like some, like, put it on Krell Top, and everybody was like, dang, this is dope. So they had hit us up to have it on the soundtrack of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. So we were like, hell yeah. So, but what happened with that was, like, when it came, same thing, came down to contracts and the people that were involved with like making it happen, and we just all couldn't agree. So that was another dope thing that, like, I wish I could look back now and be like, damn, you know, and that never really happened. So it was there. It should have. Like, but, you know, that's what happens when you have a lot of people involved, man. That's why
it's the truth.
It's always good. Like, if you have something, try to do it on your own, man. Because I was just being honest, you know.
After you guys stopped, you stopped music completely?
So I stopped, like, it was such, like, it hurt me for a long time. So I stopped doing music for a good probably say a full year or so. And then the first thing back that I did was actually, I take that back. So after a year, I got approached with this like MCA deal. And yes, it was really dope. So just me as a solo artist, right?
Yeah.
As for this MCA did, MCA Universal is like this Universal deal. And so I got in the studio, and it was with these other heads and stuff like that. But the musically, it was different. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't more on the lines of like what I did.
What was the genre then?
It was like a crossover, I would say. Like, it was me lyrically, but like concept wise and musically, it was more towards like what you hear today. You know what I mean? More of like I wouldn't say gangster, but more like street, like heavier street stuff, not like real hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, not on that end, because the producer at that time, which is my boy, he's killing it right now. He's got like a platinum album with Drake and the Jay-Z song, Trippie Redd.
No way.
He does a lot of stuff with Yellow Wolf, and he just did a track with Baby. So he's killing it, and he's involved with like 3-6 Mafia.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and that's how the whole like on Me and Oliver show, that whole grill segment, that's where that came about with Paul Wall. When we were on the road, I heard that Paul Wall and TV Johnny was opening up a new grill store. And we were on the road, like driving through Texas, and I'm just on my phone looking through social media, and I'm like, oh, fuck, we got to do this.
Yeah.
So I hit my boy T.Y. He got in touch with Paul Wall, and Paul Wall like, yo, come through. So I hit the production company like, yo, we need to change our location. I told him the concept, like, yo, Paul Wall, TV Johnny opened up a brand new grill store. Like, let me go there, get a grill made that says Dream on the front. And they're like, let's do it. You know what I mean? And so we changed the whole route. We threw out. It was supposed to be a totally different episode that we had throughout, and that's when we recorded that one and made it happen. And that's just like knowing people, man. You know, that's about like when you know different people and like connections that you have, you can make different things happen. And I knew it would help the show. It would be something that was good for the show. I mean, come on, like these are two like prime people that are in the industry that a lot of people know. So I was looking at it as, dude, we need to make this as an episode. And that's what I told the production company, like, the one we're gonna shoot has nothing on this, and they agreed. And so that's why we did that one.
Fuck. Did you when you signed, did you just pull out of that deal, the MCA deal?
So the MCA,
you just kind of didn't like it.
I didn't like we finished. I finished.
That says something about you being an artist.
Yeah,
you know
dude.
What I'm saying?
Like, to me, you know, like I told you earlier when we were chopping it up, like, to me, like, money, all of that it doesn't really, like, my image is everything, dude. Like, or what I put out. Like, I like everything I like to do has to be dope. You know what I mean? It has to be like on the lines of things that I like to do. It has to be really, really dope. So I just wasn't feeling it, like the EP that I did, like the first 5 or 6 tracks that I did. Like, people liked it, but I didn't really care for it.
You didn't feel like it was you?
No, it wasn't something that I was willing to put out and have people like, okay, like, I'm sure I would have had a fan base of, who knows, you know what I mean? But it wouldn't have been. You don't
want it to be like you're something you're not. You're
exactly.
Like, hey, I'm not fucking gangster ass mother.
No,
I just like to be positive and have fun.
And that's it. And I wanted my stuff to just be really like, I was just a hip hop head, you know? So
how hard was that though? Because you kind of ended your dream after that.
And
then getting another chance and going, I'm not going to do it again.
That honestly was really the end of it for me.
Yeah.
That last project right there, which some of the songs like we used on like the Breaking Bass reality series. Like when you hear the Breaking Bass, like a lot of those tracks that you hear throughout that
it's stuff you own.
It was all the stuff that I did in that project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we still somewhat use the music, you know, like I just said, just throw it in there, whatever. Because they were like, yo, we need music for the project, but we don't want to spend the budget money to pay for
someone's
so they're like, you're an artist, give us some music. So I just start grabbing a bunch of my old stuff, and like you can even hear some of like Non-Human Intelligence stuff where I just play my verse. They just play my verse because obviously I can't play the other artists because then you start talking about rights and stuff, you know, like ASCAP would just start knocking at the door, bro.
Or you'd have your other buddies going, what the fuck, man?
Like, yo, and like that's the messed up thing too, is like when everything ended, like I don't even talk to those heads no more, which is crazy. Really? And like we were brothers, bro, from high school, our whole lives. Like
you guys did something no one's fucking done.
And dude, it still hurts me to this day. Like,
have you tried to reach out to him?
Me and one of my other members, we met up about 3 years ago and hung out, just had some drinks and just talked about old stuff. And like I still see him through like social media and stuff like that. Like he's a really, really dope graphic artist.
Okay.
And he's always been successful at that. And really creative cat, man. Like this dude, like really creative, man. He's such a dope head, you know, and that's why we were in a group together. He produced really dope, and he really got into the drum and bass scene. So he does a lot of the graphic stuff for like Coachella. He did all the booklets for years. Like that was another connection that we had too, how we got on, you know, like they were like, what, you're an artist? Oh shoot, you guys are dope too. Oh, we hear this, like you guys are coming up. Boom. Yeah. That's another reason how we got on. And but he's the only one. My other cat, which is a really dope MC, like I haven't even talked to him.
Did he keep doing it?
No, he didn't at all. I don't even know what's up with him, dude. Damn, where he's living, crazy. Anything. Like there's some stuff that happened, man, between the group that he did that really kind of separated us too, and we don't know what the outcome of that was, but that's another reason. There's so many stories, bro. We could be here for like 5 hours, like talking about stories and stuff that happened, but yeah, we don't talk, like none of us do anymore, but
shit happened. So when you were done with this whole thing, the next time you started doing anything, was it Big Bass Dreams?
No, it was the Bass Brigade one.
The song you made for Bass Brigade.
Yes, that was so crazy because like, you know, like at this time, like I'm not doing music no more, you know, so I get back into fishing really hard, you know, because like I always like to be creative, I always like to be doing something. I wasn't skating anymore either, so it was just like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna get back into fishing. So I started fishing hard, and then that's when, like when I got back into it, I was just like thinking like, dude, like, because when I was coming up fishing, like it wasn't not a cool thing to do. All my homies was bag on me. Nobody couldn't even believe I fished, like especially
we talked about
in the music industry.
If you did fish, it was usually cholos down on the pier.
True.
Right? If you did, it would be like, let's go to the pier. Yeah. That'd be the only thing that'd be acceptable. You know, other than that, because dudes would be like, hey, let's go drink 40s.
Yeah, and that's what fishing was. It wasn't like, you know, that's what a lot of people portrayed it to be. Exactly. So, but I ran across these cats, dude, from up north, you know.
Who was the first dude you met?
I think the first one that was RB Tech.
No way.
Yeah, he was the first one that I met, like, and he's the one that introduced me to Lloyd, and like that's how the whole, and we hadn't even met in person yet. It was more just social media, you know what I'm saying? Because I just had got onto Roman Made. Oh shit! So I just had got sponsored with Roman Made. So like that's how we started, and we knew like.
How did you hook that? Like, how did that happen?
That one was a weird one, man.
Because you were throwing swim baits when you came back to it.
When I came back to it, I didn't start throwing swim baits. No,
like you were just fishing jigs and stuff.
I was just doing regular conventional fishing.
You want to water or anything?
And if you got one,
yeah,
that's cool.
Or Sprite, either one.
No, water's cool.
All right. My kids come in here to rape all the sodas. I rape all the beers when they're here. So Oliver kind of got you back into the big bait, got you into the big bait.
He did for sure. Like, because I really didn't know too much about it. Like the last big bait thing that I knew at the time was like the AC plug was hot before I got out, and also like all of the Castaic stuff, like the Castaic.
Because you came back to it at 2010, then pretty much.
Yes, it was about. No, I came back into it before 2010. I came back right around probably, let's say, 2009. Okay. 2008, 2009 is when I came back. And then not till 2010 is when I
started throwing big baits.
Till I started. It was a little before that, but until I connected with the brigade. So before that, I me and Oliver reunited pretty much because we went through like 2 separate like 10-year spans of not like seeing each other. You know what I'm saying? It was like after he was like, we were both young, obviously, like neither one of us had cars. We were walking the bank, you know what I mean, at the PUD. And then we got older, and then I didn't see him for about 7 years or so. And we ran into each other at In-N-Out. It was crazy.
The one off the 10?
The one off the 10 in Azusa, right there.
Everyone does that one. Yeah.
So we ran into each other off of there, and we chopped it up real quick. He hadn't even been fishing, so he was more into like souped up cars and stuff like that, and just do street racing and stuff like that. And I was just tripping on like how much older he got, and like, look at you, fool, you got a car now. Like, it was just like this crazy period. And I'm like, what's up? You still fishing? He's like, nah, man, I just been like mainly into like sports, you know, street racing. So we chopped it up real quick, and then I was out, he was out, and at that time too, I was like heavily doing music and stuff like that. And then I didn't see him for a long time. And then this is when I was still living in La Puente. I was actually in West Covina at the time, and then I moved to Rancho. And when I moved to Rancho, I fished the PUD, and I ran into my business partner now, Anthony, and that's where I met him. And he was in the same bass club as Oliver. It was Bass and Buddies. So they were in Bass and Buddies together. And he rolled up on me. He's like, yo, you just real friendly dude. You know, on the water, you talk to other fishermen. Like, hey, yo, how are you guys doing? Oh, we got a few.
Does your buddy, does Anthony fish too?
So that was my original tournament partner, but he doesn't fish now.
Okay.
Like, yeah, he's more into like golf. He still loves fishing, but he just hasn't been out in a long time. Just with like business, like it was just a lot for him. So he just stopped fishing for a minute. He still loves to do it, but I mean, me and him got out like once last year or something. I took him out. We did like this tournament together. But so when I met him on the water, he had just stuck like a 12 or something, and he was like showing me the pictures of it. And I'm like, dang, I'm like, that's dope, dude. Like, congrats, man. Good for you. That's a really good fish, you know? So we chopped it up, and then he was like, yo, take my number down. You ever want to link and we'll fish together? I'm like, all right, cool. So.
But you're already fishing tournament.
No, I hadn't started fishing tournaments yet. I had like a little float tube and pontoon at the time. Seriously, like this is early on, you know. And so after that, come to find out, like he went back to one of his club meetings, you know, with Bass and Buddies, and he was talking to everybody within the club, and he's talking to Oliver, and he's like, yeah, dude, I met this black dude named Carnell. Dude, he seems like a cool. And Oliver was like Carnell, like Carnell Lee, and he's like, yeah, you know him? And he's like, yeah, like me and that fool were like childhood homies. We started fishing together. And he's like, I've been looking for that cat for a while. Like, dude, slide me his number. Yeah. So my boy was like, cool. My boy hit me up. He's like, yo, do you know this cat named Oliver? I'm like, fool, are you serious right now? And I'm like, hell yeah, I know who Oliver is. He's like, dude, he asked, you know, to slide his number. Like, I'm like, dude, give it to him. Like, literally that day, my phone went off. Fool Ollie hit me like, bro, I've been looking for you for like almost 10 years. Like, nobody knew where you were, this and that. Because I had just got back to, you know, fishing. And, you know, we go back with like Kevin Hugo, Ryan Crandall, Alex, like all of us were like all heads at the PUD that were coming up young as kids fishing together, like that are sticks, you know what I mean? Like, so once he got the number, he hit me up, and dude, he was like, bro, I got to show you this new technique. That's because bro, we went years, and like a 6 or 7 pounder was like the biggest we've ever had. You know, like we never seen anything on 8, 9, 10 pound. I think close to an 8 was the biggest one I got one night with Kevin Hugo, and Kevin used to work at the Pudding Stone bait and tackle, like the rental shop for the boats. Kevin used to work that. And so we would all show up at like 3, and then when they would shut the lake down, we would all go inside the boat rental, close the doors, and lock up like if it was closed. Let the Rangers come, lock the gates, and they would bounce. And we'd just be in there eating hot dogs, making nachos and shit. And so after that, we would always bring our own batteries. We had batteries stashed there.
That way you could just jump on.
We go out at the rentals at night and fish, and I stuck a good one night. That was like the biggest that, you know. Yeah. And we were really competitive all of us. So me and Kevin was on a team one night. And Kevin's a cool homie. That he's a stick, bro. He wins FLWs, dude. Toyota Series. Yeah. That dude's a stick, man. So he's like kind of one of like, he was always younger than me, but like coming up fishing, like I always looked up to that head, dude, you know, like, because he was the one that was like started doing it early. Like he was young, but really fished hard and really fished like club. Started fishing club stuff first. Started fishing like pro-am stuff first before all of us, you know. So he was just always really good fisherman. You know, he worked there and he just had all of the connects. So that's so when, you know, Oliver hit me up and stuff like that, and he was just like, yo, dude, I got this new technique, bro. Like, you got to check this out. Like, I'm catching donkeys. I'm like, all right. So me and him hooked up 1 week. I just took off for a whole week, dude. I was like, look, I'm going to fish with you for a whole week. And that's when I first met Rafael Rossi.
From
DRT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
no way.
Dude, this is back then when me and Rossi, yes.
Did he live down here?
He was up north at the time. Okay. And he came down and he fished. All 3 of us fished together. So that's the first time I ever seen the slide swimmer. That fool was the first cat that ever put me and Ollie on what the slide swimmer was. It was like, dude, Ralphie came. He had all of these baits, and we're like, what the heck? And I'm looking at him while he's retrieving. I'm like, bro, how are you getting it to go side to side? Because you know the way that S motion on the slide swimmer was. So it was just this period of, man, like on the early end before
that's crazy.
A lot of
that's
stuff.
Like the story of like all the pieces coming together. Yep. Like these dude, you've seen this shit happen forever,
firsthand,
dude. You know, like,
yeah, straight up. And that's when I first met Rossi, and which is a really cool cat. Me and him still chop it up. Dude.
He's been a huge help to this podcast.
Yeah, dude, that's such a great dude right there. We still chop it up to this day, you know, every now and then.
He's a funny motherfucker.
He is. Rossi's that's a true head right there, bro.
He met me, I was fucking plastered, dude. He's like, hey, you're pretty fucking funny. I'm like, I guess. I don't know. I was like getting drunk, bro.
That's the homie though, man. That's what I'm saying. There's just so many pieces. Like we go way back, you know. And
did you get the Roman made from him then?
So no, I didn't get the Roman made from him. So I got the Roman made on my own just by when I first linked with the brigade and a close buddy that I met, David Swinside. Mm-hmm. So he's the one that first put me on, and that's how the whole Roman made thing started. And then there was after a while it was mainly through him, and then they had somebody that started kind of taking over the US side of Roman Aid, but he lived like in Kentucky or somewhere that, where like swim bait fishing wasn't really like, they weren't doing it there, and they really just didn't have the caliber of fish, and it was a lot tougher, and like we were killing it in Cali. And that's why I think like the whole Roman Made USA team kind of like, it kind of dwindled out, you know what I mean? So, because you know Roman Made had got quiet for a little bit, and now like with social media being huge, is back.
Yeah.
Like people know of Roman Made Japan and how it is, but it was Roman Made USA for a while. But nobody really knew too much. Like a couple heads. It was that,
and it wasn't social media. Wasn't the same thing.
It wasn't. It was on the earlier stages of social media. You know, and it was just like being in the brigade. And I think at the time too, Lloyd is the one that was kind of controlling the website. So he was the one that was like, if you look at the old website, like, he created a lot of the stuff, you know? And that's when like the Big Bay thing really became, they were like really making it like art, you know what I mean? Like the way they were like art, RB Tech was like painting and like,
amazing.
Dude, that was like, he's like
he's
one of the OG painters.
A lot of people, Bash Jacks, you know, Rich, a lot of people's.
Yeah, Rich, that fool was the one, man. Like, he used to paint all my stuff back in the day. We all chilled together. We did events, you know? Yeah. We did a bunch of events back then, and we were, like, the only ones doing events and stuff, and that's how the original theme song. It was like their... When I first got on, they were just like, yo, like, RB Tech was like, yo... I think he had my boy Ann at the time. He was like, dude, like, tell Dimension to drop something for us. And I was like, cool, I will. I just went in and ripped something real quick. Dude.
And when's the last time you've been doing something?
For
like at all? Like what was the last time? Oh,
that was already like that had already been like another year and something.
From the MCA deal.
From the MCA thing. That was like a complete year after that. I'm starting to see a few heads on.
I don't know the fuck.
What about Greg too? He looks like
he got on fucking
what is it?
Sierra Nevada, dude.
Sierra Nevada.
I'm like, I need to get a fucking Modelo.
And then that Pons Boy cat isn't
he on something?
That fool's on the Fat Tire.
There's got to be a way to do it. I'm like, dude, what more product placement do you want than a fucking... I usually drink beers every fucking time. Yeah. And I'm like, shit, I need
When I was doing music, I was on Pabst Blue.
Oh, fuck. How many headaches did you have?
I was on Pabst Blue, and I wasn't really a beer drinker at that time.
Well, you were every time you fucking took a picture.
It was just like... It was crazy. How
much did they give you?
Oh, dude, we had all kinds of
fucking anything you needed.
Yeah, all kinds of Pabst Blue. I didn't even really. It was crazy. Like I didn't even really care. You know, it was a trip. Like at the time, I didn't even really care about like. Didn't really think about it either.
Dude.
It was
That's a fucking big company.
It was, but we're just like whatever. You know.
The beer spot. I mean, that's the hard for me. It's like I'm doing this myself, so it's like. I don't know how to reach out to people, and I fucking hate reaching out. So I got to go, hey, can I get someone from marketing?
Bro.
And it's like, fuck this, dude, you know?
Right now, with like how good your podcast is doing, dude, I'm telling you, it won't be hard.
I just don't feel like doing it.
Serious,
I'll just keep buying fucking. See,
that's what I'm saying.
Packs.
You like me. We're just like, if it comes, it comes. You know what I mean? Like, you don't reach out to get it. It just,
exactly.
It happens.
It probably should, you know, but. So you're back to the song. You finished that song. You're the Brigade. Mm-hmm. Then Oliver came out. He had two different videos, right? He has two different.
Yes, DVDs? He had two different premieres. Yeah.
So was it two different DVDs or just one DVD?
It was two different DVDs.
Which the first one has the big catch on, or the second one?
The first one
does.
No, the second one has the big catch on it.
Your song's on both of them?
No, so our song is not on neither one.
It's just on the YouTube.
The song I wrote was for the Breaking Bash show that we got. That's when the Big Bass Thick Lines Equal Heavyweights came. Because when me and Oliver when I seen the way the industry was going, I was like, yo, dude, I know we can get a show. He didn't believe me. That fool was like, bro, you're tripping. I'm like, I'm telling you, I got the resources. I see the direction that bass fishing is going. Like, I see the urban, like, culture, this subculture happening the same way like skating was, you know what I mean?
So Oliver was like, I don't know about that.
He didn't see it because he wasn't in the industry like I was. Like, I had a vision. I seen that coming. So I was like, yo, look, let's put something together. I'll call up some of my people and let's pitch it. Mm-hmm. He's like, shit, I'm all for it. Like, let's do it. So literally, I call up some of my people. We started putting a few things together. We put like a sizzle reel together with like just some of his footage, my footage, and like just me being MC, a fisherman, just like these city kids, you know what I mean? And We pitched the deal, and bro, literally like in a week, we got a call from like one of the biggest production companies, reality, basically TV, and that was Authentic TV.
Damn.
They had all of the big shows, Honey Boo Boo at the time, like
Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, they had all of these huge shows, right? And they called us, and they wanted to have a sit down meeting with us, and
was that a shocker?
It was a shocker, bro.
Yeah.
So we sat down with them in Burbank at the studios. We sat down with them, and like, you know, all the executives, and they were like, look, we love what you guys are doing. Like, we want to sign you guys. And we were just like, dang. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, what do you guys think? Like, let's go over some numbers, this and that. And, you know.
So when the production company, do they pay for your show?
So the production company, this is how it worked. So after that, like a few days later, that happened, that pitch and meeting was like on a Friday. The pitch was more earlier in the week, like on a Monday. We had the meeting on a Friday, but at Monday we were signing contracts.
Shit.
Like, dude, we had already signed the deal. So I was like so hyped. I was like, dude, I'm gonna go in the studio. Let's go drop something, right? So I called up him. I called up my boy Anthony that I was telling you about. And I called up Alex Kim, too. Okay. Gully. Called up Gully and Oliver. And they all went to the studio with me. And I laid down the big bass, thick lines, equals heavy weights.
Damn.
And once I did that, that's what I'm talking about. Like, traveling the States and all of that, because we had just signed a deal for that show.
Yeah.
Us thinking that, dang, this show's going to happen. Like, dude, this is it. We signed a deal. Like, we're leaving, like, in maybe a month or so, you know? Dude, they shopped it for 2 years. Me and Oliver like forgot about it. We were just like, we were like, forget it, bro. It's not gonna happen. Like, got a call, dude.
And you're like,
so we got a lot of separate different calls. Like, at one time, like, Animal Planet was gonna pick it up.
No way.
Dead serious. Animal Planet was gonna pick it up. The History Channel was gonna pick it up. Red Bull wanted us. I remember. I still have the emails from Red Bull. Shit. And like the meeting and how much they love the show and like the idea and everything. But the owner of Red Bull, I think he was like from Australia or something, he flew down. That was the last meeting to finalize it. And he was just like, I don't know if we could do this. Like, we don't do fishing, you know? He's like, all we do is like snowboarding, skate. They didn't know how much of an extreme sport it was, you know what I mean? It haven't really crossed over like that yet.
I think it's barely hitting now.
It's barely hitting. So like they didn't get it. And so he was just like, I don't even know how to market this. And that's why the Red Bull deal like fell through.
Man, that
didn't happen. That would have been, dude, I still got the emails, man. Like, and I just like, bro, it just came down to one person. Everybody else was like, dude, when they emailed us back, like, dude, we're so sorry. We wanted this they wanted it bad. But
it's like Manscaped.
He just didn't.
For me,
he didn't.
Manscaped was that. I'm like, did I get it? They're like, no, you were short two product codes. I'm like, if you would have fucking told me to sell 8 products, I would have fucking done it. They're like, no, it needs to be done organically. I'm like, shit, fuck, and I'm like, well, maybe next time. Fuck it.
I'm telling you, that's just how it happened. So that's what we said. We're just like, well, all right, and then boom. Like, after the Red Bull, like a few months later, boom, here comes Verizon.
Damn.
And Verizon, at the time, no, it was Verizon, Animal Planet, Esquire was one, too, that they were negotiating back and forth.
Fuck.
And I guess when it came to budget and money, like, Verizon, like, basically agreed.
Damn.
And that's why they went with Verizon.
Yeah. And then you did one season?
We did one season, which was 16 episodes. And
how much of a bitch was it?
It was very tough, dude. Very tough. So the only tough thing about it was the fishing. That was the toughest part because, dude, like, we're going from our home lakes that are like the size of one street to lakes that are like the size of
a block,
4 or 5 blocks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And only having 4 hours. So our shooting time was a full day. We shot all day, but 8 hours because it's SAG, dude. It's
a full on deal.
Yeah, it's all union. They have Tuesdays off. Every Tuesday they have off, and so we shot from first thing in the morning, 4 hours. We had to have lunch, and then and the second part of the day was nightlife.
Okay.
So only the first 4 hours of the day was fishing, and then all of the rest we had totally different location, and it was a nightlife because they wanted to make it like a lifestyle show. Like these city kids. This is what we do. We fish, but this is also what we do. We like to hang out. We like to go in the city, have fun, meet people, stuff like that, which was really dope. It was fun. Like it was such a dope experience, and like we had a lot of the creative, when it came down to some things, like they started listening to us, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because we had the dopest film crew though, like the dopest. Like we still talk to these cats to these days. Really? They were all young heads that were like really cool, man, to hang out with. And they were like, dude, you guys, out of every show they've done, they're like, you guys are the dopest talent we ever kicked. Like we never hang with the talent. Never. Like he's like, it just never happens in the industry. He's like, dude, they like, they're usually like don't want anything to do, or we don't want anything to do with them. They're usually older, they're not hip. But dude, we hung every day, like after shooting, like going out and like doing our own thing later on, going to eat, go hang out at spots. Like we hung out with them every single day, and we always stayed in like the same hotels and stuff like that. But me and Oliver started like cutting one day short so we could try to show up to the next lake. Cause dude, they can only travel. They can't travel no more than 8 hours.
Shit.
They have to stop.
And then they stop for 4 or something. Then
they will stop, and then they will go to sleep or whatever and come the next day. Like me and Oliver were just on a roll, dude. We started in New York and made our way all the way back to California. You know what I mean?
What were you? So did you call people and go, "Hey, can you help me with the bite, dude?"
So it wasn't real. We knew people in certain areas, but a lot of the lakes, we had to choose that were closer. So it wasn't like we got to choose the lakes that we wanted to, because it was too far of a drive, like through SAG and stuff like that. They couldn't travel that way. Like they're like, no, you guys, look, this is the route. You guys see where these lakes are. So they couldn't be over like, and then show wise and shooting, how much we had to get out. I think it was like no more than like 6 hours. They wanted like, dude, you guys need to narrow it down to like 4 to maybe 6 hour drive. So we had to start picking the closest lakes, and working our way all the way back. We were gone for 2 months, bro. We traveled for 2 months shooting this show, And
what was the fish quality like?
Dude, everywhere we went, everybody we talked to, people that were local, that were like heads that we knew, like, yo, we're finally coming around here. Like, bro, it's the worst time to show. And man, you'll hear it on the show. Like, if you guys got to see it, me and Oliver was like, dude, they finally give us like a fishing show, and bro, we can't even catch fish. Like, it was a struggle, and only having 4 hours to like we could never even break the water down. I mean, you just didn't have time. We had to just like drop the trolling motor, start fishing points, whatever. Power fishing. It was like,
were you swim bait fishing, or was it just everything?
A little bit? It was. We were just trying to. At first, we were trying to swim bait fish, but we were like, bro, we just need to happen.
Give me the drop shot now.
Like, dude, we need to. So we mainly fished like reaction baits. We didn't drop shot, but we mainly fished like reaction baits and stuff, swim baits and reaction baits. Like, I threw them a lot. You'll see in the show, I threw them a lot, but it was tough, dude. It was like the worst time. There was like these really hot like heat waves that were coming in, and like they were like, bro,
and you weren't even able to fish like right first thing in the morning. It was like,
because we would get, I think our call-in times were like at 6, and then everybody get the whole camera crew
it takes another hour and a half,
and then we'll show up, and all we had was 4 hours to shoot that. Then we had to be at our next location and start shooting, because the production crew would be there, and they have to shut the place down, put up signs that people, hey, we're filming today, so if you want to be on camera, you can. If not, like, you know, they would have to sign releases. It's a process, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's tough.
We filmed one. I did with a production company, and it was a fucking bitch. I was at Performance. I did a line fucking 15, 20 times, dude. I'm like, all right, guys. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I fucked it up again, dude. You know, I couldn't do it. I just fucking couldn't do it.
Ours was just raw. There was no, like, because it's not a commercial. It's no redos. Like, our stuff was raw, bro. A lot of our stuff was just like, we had to just be who we were all the time, you know? And a lot of stuff got, you know, cut out. They edited, obviously, a lot of stuff. But
do you ever do something and it's like, I didn't fucking do that?
There's a lot of stuff, like, because as we would go to next locations and stuff, like, production crew would, like, hit us up. And, like, they would always call us, like, the ones back home in Cali at Authentic. That's where they did, because
that's where they edit
at
everything.
the end of the week, dude, we had the production crew had to package everything and ship it off every episode when they were done. And this was like a freaking piece of gold. Like, everybody was always freaked out.
This is what year?
This was 2000. Like, this is like 2014.
So this is not like the shit we have right here either.
No, dude.
This was like
on
big drives, right? You had
they had like big. I remember they're like big tapes and stuff like that. This was like 2014.
So it wasn't where we're at now with fucking equipment.
With digital equipment. Like, cameras was really sick.
Yeah.
Like, their equipment was dope for that time, but I'm sure now you talking like
you got a fucking little hard drive, a 2 terabyte hard drive like this.
Yes. No, you should see like everything, how many different tapes and batteries we had that, like, dude, I got old pictures of like the vans. We had 2 full-size vans following us everywhere we go, dude. Like, people would trip. It was so crazy. Like, people were like, who the hell are these freaking guys?
Right,
you know, pulling up with 2 vans, 7-man camera crews. Like, it was a sick time, dude. And then being all in the red states along that whole time of like Trump in the presidency, bro.
You're like, hey.
I'm telling you, man, you should have seen the stuff that we.
Hey, you know, even just like going back, like, by no means am I like a cholo, or I mean, I look different than I probably talk.
Yeah.
But fucking going to like Idaho and Utah.
Yeah.
I remember walking into Walmart and going, this is fucking weird, bro. Because I'm used to being home where,
you know,
I'm the minority. I'm a majority.
Yeah.
I go there. I'm like, fuck. There's not one Mexican in this motherfucker.
No, dude.
Even I went to Caesars and stayed up there and with my wife
up north,
and we went to eat some nice restaurant. And I walk in there. I'm like, look at this. She goes, what? I'm like, only fucking Mexican in here. I was like, this is fucking wild. You know, like,
it was crazy, man. People used to come up to us all the time, like, oh my, who are you guys? Like,
exactly.
We never seen like beautiful people like this. We never seen people so well dressed like that. We're just like, what could do? We were staying in. I mean, you got to think about
some honky ass fucking places.
You got to think about the cities where the lakes are. We had to be close as possible. So yeah, some of our hotels were dope. Like when we got to Austin and Texas, because the lakes were close. But the lakes that are remote, bro, we had to stay in some
fucked up hotels,
places, bro, because we didn't want to wake up and drive an hour.
Where you're like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the rigs are out there. All of our we used to bring all the equipment in the hotel, bro. Like everything, and leave it in the hotel. All of the camera stuff, like it was some crazy stuff, bro.
Shit.
You know what I mean? Like it was a trip, like. Or just when we went to Houston, like driving through the city of Houston with a boat, everybody looking at us like, there ain't no water around here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a trip, man.
That was 2 months of traveling.
2 months, man.
So then you get back and you guys, did they finish the show?
So we get back and we did one episode here. That's the episode where we fished at our home, like where me and Oliver met, and at Pudding Stone. We visited that, and then we shot up to, where was it? It's kind of far away, more the Castaic area, and we shot the episode. It was the same episode, but it was the day, the daytime, and then the nightlife, which was where I went and got the tattoo started
Mm-hmm.
from Evan.
Okay.
You know who Evan from Pale Horse?
Pale Horse Custom.
Yeah, he's a rod builder.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a tattoo artist too.
Oh, okay, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so and he's a big bait cat. You know what I'm saying? He catches donks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I reached out to him about doing a tattoo and being on the episode and stuff, just because he knew who we were. He followed Big Back's dreams. He really like dug us and stuff like that. So we're like, yo, we want to shoot an episode with you. He was like, dude, I would love to do it. So we went up to his tattoo shop, shot the whole second part of an episode at his shop while he did a tattoo on me of a bass, like eating bait smith and stuff like that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So that was a dope episode too. And so that was like the last one that we did. So after that, we just pretty much waited until the show was like put together and ready to go. Then we had a release party, and it was real dope. We had a release party. Everybody came out and stuff like that. We did a big premiere of it. You know what I mean? So everybody came to hang, and we had it at Last Name. It was a dope brewery. We had a huge screen in there. So the very first premiere, and it was in 2016.
Shit.
It was when it dropped, and after that, every week on Tuesday, they released the episode.
That was on Verizon.
That was on Go 90, which was their Verizon's digital.
Okay.
Before like Netflix, and it
so
was like
hard to promote too, probably.
It was right in the beginning of like the whole Netflix and like Hulu. Hulu wasn't even around yet. Like, yeah. This is like 2016, man. So like Netflix was kind of new. No, people weren't on the Netflix tip like the way they are now. You know what I mean? So now digital TV is so huge. You know what I mean? So that was on that early stage, and that's what happened with that, man. It was crazy.
So what happened after the first? Did you figure like, okay, we're gonna get?
Well, so from the ratings and everything, the show was doing really good. Like even on, say, for instance, on Go 90, they always had like the top show, and we were always like at the top. Like our show was like the most watched, and like we got a lot of write-ups on the show. Like if you Google it, like you'll see a lot of different write-ups of the show. And then all the episodes happened, and we had already started to plan to do a season 2. And we were just kind of see, budget-wise and new signings. Like obviously the talent, me and Oliver, our rates were going to go up, and they were just trying to figure out what was going to happen, like budget-wise. And so we just hung back, dude. Just waited to see what was going to happen. And then, like, we started getting these emails about, like, Verizon shutting down their digital and this and that. And so we're not sure what's going to happen. We don't know how we're going to, continue to move on. Because at that time, Verizon owned the rights to the show. And then, like, months go by, right? And then we get this new email like, oh my gosh, guess what? Like, you guys just been nominated for 2 awards. And we're like, what the heck? And so they're like, yo, like, if you guys win, like, dude, season 2's happening for sure. You know what I mean? So we're like, shoot, man. I was just like, damn, all right, well, here we go. Like, here we go again. Like, this may pop back up, and, we may get our season 2. And like our season 2, at this point, we knew we were going to do it a lot doper because we experienced everything, and the production company really knew
what needed to be done.
We knew what needed to be done, because they're like, bro, we underestimated what these guys like really need and how much time they really need. This is nature we're dealing with. You can't just tell the fish, all right, bite right now in 5 minutes and boom, it doesn't work like that. So they really start to see, and like they started like, dude, heck yeah, we need to listen to these guys. They try to tell us in the beginning, but we're just thinking of production and how a show should go. Exactly. They're like, no, it's totally different. So the cast, they were behind. They like, even the production manager, like that fool's like, yeah, dude, like we know now next time. So we had a lot of big things in like keep taking in this show. Like we started in the States, now we're talking about going like to Mexico, we're talking about going to South Africa. Damn, we're like, you know what I'm saying? We're like all of these big, because we really wanted to follow like that big bass dreams, like what it was really all about. Like let's go to the lakes that really have the caliber of fish that we need to try to catch in the right times. We need to change the time of when we need to target these and fish for these. You know what I'm saying? Like they had us like right after summer, like moving in the fall. Like in the fall, it's like, bro, fish are moving so much, and all we got is 4 hours. Like just finding them is going to take 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? And you still probably won't find these fish are on the move. Like they didn't know. They're like, damn, it's so technical. Like, yeah, it is. We're hunting, bro. You don't just show up and like everybody cooperates as far as nature. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. So, dude, we end up being like, we almost won the award, dude. We lost to one show, and that was the Ball Brothers.
Oh, no way.
That's who we lost to. Yep.
That's good. That's crazy.
And
that you
look
guys
at
did
how
that
big of a following they had, dude.
God, huge.
They had such a huge following already.
Yeah.
So just like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, but we beat every other show out. We got second.
Chalk it up to experience, huh?
Yeah. So that's how it all happened, man. And then we're just like, all right, well, that's over with. And they were still like, oh, well, you know, dude, you guys did really well. Let's see. And just the whole.
You kind of over it after that a little bit?
After a while, like, you know, I thought maybe still, like, in my head, I'm thinking like, all right, well, maybe like, you know, we'll be able to probably shop this. And like, to me, I was like, I'd rather get a production, not really a production deal, but I'd rather get a better network anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like Verizon really didn't
something
know.
Bigger,
something that knows how like to market show. Because dude, the only marketing that they had is our social media.
Yeah.
There was no other marketing, bro. They relied on our social media followings to do the marketing and theirs. That was the only thing. There was no other marketing, and that's really what it came down to. If we had better marketing,
like if you would have had like MLF, you know, everyone pumping it out
and put it in bass. We just told them, look, towards the end, we was like, look, because they were like, dang, you guys were like under the budget, and we're like, well, yeah. I'm like, dude, you guys. The main thing is marketing. If you guys really want this show to do well,
you gotta market.
Like take that money, whatever's left, put it all into marketing. You know what I mean? Like if you have to, let's do a commercial. Let's put it on, you know, places where, you know, that demographic is going to see it.
Exactly.
And they didn't understand that. They didn't know, like, it was such early on in this type of show. They just didn't know the guidelines, man. And when you don't, like, that's what happens. They were just banking on, like,
you guys to make it work.
Banking on us to make it work, man. And
then after that, you just said, fucking done, bro.
That's where it
Go
was.
back to tournament fishing. I'm good.
I was like, all right, just keep on, you know, we just keep doing big bass streams. We'll keep, you know, and Oliver started doing stuff with Meat Eater and stuff like that, you know.
He did that DOS boat.
Yeah, he did the DOS boat, which is the Meat Eater. They're doing good, you know.
No, they're the top echelon, dude. They're number one for podcasting.
Yeah.
They got a shitload of people in their network, dude.
So it's cool, man. It's really cool. And then I had some approaches for a few projects after that too that I started to get involved with, and they hit me up, like the production company hit me up for different material and stuff like that. I did like this presidential debate where they were coming out with a show that the presidents were battling against each other, but through raps.
Yeah.
So I wrote a lot of the raps, dude, for those presidential debates. Yeah.
That's another connection.
Yeah. It was
right?
So it was dope, dude. I have fun. Like mine was George Washington against JFK, and I still like I'm trying to look for somebody that could do like animation.
Yeah.
And maybe do some animated characters for me.
Like you ever see they do that with like Joe Rogan? They'll animate the episode.
Yeah.
That should be sick.
And I want to use my vocals like that I spit at them and them battling against each other, dude. Because I'm telling you, I brought the heat, bro. I brought the heat. It was so fun to like do a lot of research and find out the ins and outs of like the fucked up shit they did, and like I'm able to like talk shit about them. You know what I mean? It was fun doing that. It was real fun doing that episode, but I wanted to like release it on my own with like my own little animated characters and stuff, you know?
Damn.
So did that, and there was some other stuff that came up, and you know, we were possibly going to do some other things, but just as time just kept going, it just changes, like it just became like a kind of like a dead issue, you know? And then like we didn't have the rights to anything, and like we don't even have the episodes. Like nobody could even go see them. Nobody could watch them. Nothing. It was just like I didn't understand. That's the thing I didn't understand when I was
that they own it and you can.
I was talking to them back and forth. I'm like, dude, why don't you guys just put it out, put it up, like wherever, like let people download it, anything, like put it on the website, just let people that want to watch it download it. And you will see, like as time goes on, more and more people will be like, oh shoot, there's so many people that hit me up, like, dude, I wish I could have, you know. They just can't see it no more. Like we can't even see it. We don't even know where it's at. Like they have all the archives.
That the only good thing nowadays is that you can get everything.
Yeah.
But back then it's like if you would have known, you would have fucking had a recorder and recorded each fucking episode and had it as our own. Cause like, dude, I like it's a memory that was
a memory, bro. Like I can't even show like new friends or like family members that didn't get a chance,
or even your son still little.
He was actually on one episode because when I was in my hometown of Oklahoma, when I moved there, when I first started fishing, just out of the blue, dude, he calls me, and I'm like, looked at the phone, and I'm like, oh, that's my son. They're like, no, answer it. Like they're like, dude, it's raw. No, we're not cutting this out. And like I answered the phone, I started talking to my son and showing him like where I was fishing when I was his age. It was like the most dude, I started crying on that episode. I'm serious, bro. I was like bawling, crying on that episode. And dude, when we sent that footage back to the studio, like they called me like a few days later that they got in there like, bro, this episode was like our favorite. They were like, dude, you had everybody in the studio like emotional, crying. Like we needed this for the show. They said we wouldn't have had that. You know what I mean? They were like, we wouldn't have had nothing like this. Like this was so raw and good. Like you guys killed it right here. And I'm just like, all right, like dude, I'm sitting here crying and stuff,
bro. That's it.
I'm over here crying and stuff, like thinking like, dang, what everybody gonna talk shit about? Like, oh, you little bitch. You know what I mean? But I was like, it is what it is, you know. Like, awesome. Dude, it hit that time hit me different, bro. It's like it brought me back to when I was young, his age, not really like, dude, where we lived, it was so remote. Like houses were like 3-4 acres down, so spread out. But we had creeks that ran behind every house and all of these lakes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I moved there when I was 6, but by the time I was like 9 years old, like, dude, I had my own motorcycles, and all I did was drive everywhere, bro, and fish. Places that nobody even touched.
Yeah.
My dad, I would come back with bluegill, and my pops would be like, bro, where did you catch? Pops would hop on the back of the motorcycle like, let's go. He would, dude. He couldn't believe it. I'm like, Pops, I'm telling you, I'm going far, dude. Like, what else did I have to do, dude?
Yeah.
It was few kids. Like I had my friends, dude, our school was like an hour, 45 minutes away. Fuck. It was the only school, and it was in the country of Oklahoma. The city was called Newalla.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like Oklahoma City. We lived there at first until our house was finished getting built. And when our house was done getting built, a new track, we moved to Newalla. Okay. So we stayed in Oklahoma City for like maybe 8 months or something like that. And we rented a house. That could be part of the reason
that you are the way you are, the positive. Like you grew up young. Like you didn't grow up like fucking horrible ghetto. Like you kind of grew up just on your own.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just like my worst times is probably like when I came back as like a 13-year-old.
Oh, it's got to be fucking.
That's when I came back to that's when like things kind of turned, and like I had to really think about like what I was doing, and that's when I started writing, dude, and really got into dancing. Because if I didn't, bro, the streets, it was a rough time, bro. It was a rough time in the 90s.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The way things
90s were a different time. I always talk about, like, I was in high school 94, and they had the Watching gang at my high school, and they shot fucking like 5 dudes in the parking lot. Yeah. Like, it was crazy. Like,
I knew Watching. I knew like cats from Bahalana, from Santana, all of those like that.
So they didn't fuck the Asian boy gang shit was no joke.
They had firepower.
Yeah,
they had like firepower that none of us like. Yeah, we had like pistols, like 9s and like 25, just some 380s, dude. They'll come with some shit that will light you up,
And they didn't
Tech
fuck
9s.
Around,
they had all, and they didn't, dude. They didn't. Those, dude. I had homies, dude, homies and females that I knew that I used.
And that was the time back then. Was like gangs were a different time. It was fucking scary. Like I would walk home and be like, I'm not doing shit. And they would, I don't even look like anything. And they would fucking, where you from? Fuck with you, chase you.
It was a rough time, dude. So that's why I said, like, music is what, like, took me away from, like, hanging so much. Yeah. So many situations I've been caught in to where, like, at 15, 16, my close friends were getting murdered, and like I've been in situations where it could have been me. Like at the time when it happened, like, dude, that could have been me.
It's fucking
so
horrible,
it was just like I knew, dude, I had to do something else, and I was always at that head though, that just loved music, always dancing, but like just hanging in the neighborhood, you just have friends that were like affiliated with that, and
that's just how it worked.
That's just how it worked, so you would just be around the neighborhood and you get caught up in those situations, and I just knew, I was like, dude, I can't keep doing this shit. Like too many times that I'm getting lucky, like I gotta get away, and then that's when I just started incubating myself and writing, and it's just my parents moved me from La Puente and had me go to West Covina instead of Bassett. And that changed everything. That was the change right there. That really helped me get away from
the smart.
Where I was headed. My parents was just like, no, you're not. And I was mad at them, dude. Like,
oh, you're moving from your friends and everything.
All my homies, dude. Like, even though it was like a lot of gangs, those are all my boys. though, you know what I mean? So now I'm showing up to this new school where I don't know anyone, bro. When I mean I didn't, though, it was a city over. When did, as a kid, when did you,
never,
as close
ever,
as it was, just like one street over, like I never still didn't know anyone.
Shit.
So go to this high school and boom, like at that time, I was like writing a little bit and I was dancing. So very first day, like at this high school, lunchtime, they had freaking DJs that played music.
Remember that?
So, bro, I just got in the cypher, dude, and from then on, it just changed. Like, everybody started knowing who I was. Like, oh, this cat's dope.
I remember that shit, dude, when they used to do that.
That was the dopest times right there. During lunch, they would always have a DJ, and, like, we would just bust so hard. And the whole school, like, that lunchtime, how they had 2 different lunches? So, and that lunchtime... that whole lunch would just be in a circle just watching us. So we would ditch for the second lunch too. You know what I'm saying?
So you could be at both,
we could be at both, man. We got to use the restroom. I'm not feeling good. Boom. Get out of class, go rip in that one too.
Come back all sweaty.
And now like, because you had to touch those cats too that didn't know. You know what I mean? Because it was a totally different lunch. And so that was dope, man. That was a really dope time.
We're doing something new. This is the first time we're going to do it. We're going to break down. So I thought fish catches would be cool, but I think losing a fish is even better because you could break down what you might have done wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Or some shit you done wrong. So we got all this new fancy equipment. So we're going to try and do this shit. Let's see.
Dope.
I'll show you. Oh, there we go. So you're going to be able to see this on video. You're going to hear us talking. Do you mind saying what lake you're at or no?
I'm at Diamond Valley
Diamond Valley, okay.
Yeah.
So break down where you're at. What time of the day?
So I'm at Diamond Valley right here. I just hit some other points and stuff like that. Got no bites. And so I'm coming over to the dam. Myself, I like to fish rock a lot. So I'm like, all right. And so the wind was blowing pretty nice at this time. And I'm like, dude, it's a perfect opportunity to stick one, you know? So I was like, I'm going to just go parallel on the dam and chuck a 10-inch mag draft. So, you know, I kind of roll up. And you can see the wind. Look at my jacket.
Yeah. No,
the wind's
going.
blowing. And I like fishing against the wind because a lot of time, a lot of people don't. Because you get better cast, you don't backlash. But me, I like fishing against the wind because typically bait moves with the current. The bait's not gonna want to go against the current, fighting the current. You know, it's just small bait, and then the small bait, you got the other bigger size bait that's gonna follow the smaller bait. You know, it's an ecosystem. So I'm like, I love to fish up against current because the bait's coming our way. So the fish are gonna position the same way the bait is coming down.
Okay.
So I'm going against the current right now. Pretty much, you can see it moving this way.
What size line are you using?
I'm using 20 pound, and
okay.
this is where I messed up though. So I'm using 20 pound leader, and I'm fishing braid because I was too lazy. I was too lazy.
This is the reason why I'm getting dedicated, because I have my swim bait stuff for the salt. But I'm like, I don't want to keep changing shit out because I'll do the braid thing. I don't want this to happen.
You don't want this to happen. You know? So me, like I brought a few combos that day, all swim bait combos. I didn't want to retie a lot of bait. I got a mother chaser tied on one. I got a mag draft. I forgot what else I had tied on. So I had a ice slide 262.
So what happened right there?
So this is what I kick myself in the butt for. So are you gonna be able to hear the
well, I'm gonna match it all up. Let me see how you fucking
you can hear the snap on that. Hold on. Too.
Let's see if I can get the fucking,
and there it goes jumping.
Oh shit, it fucking actually jumped on you.
Dude, if you slow it down, you can see the bait in its mouth, it trying to shake the bait.
Let's see how you do this. So right here it comes.
So yeah, I'm bumping rock right now, just do with the mag draft, 10-inch megabass mag draft bump, and I get bit. You see the rod tip. Yes. You see the rod tip.
So you broke at the connection?
I broke at the connection, bro. And the reason why, because you got to think, a fluorocarbon leader, braided line, no stretch. You know what I mean?
But why were you using fluorocarbon that day?
Dude, no. So you can use fluorocarbon, but a braid to fluorocarbon leader on a big bait with a big fish like that, like
what do you think that was?
It exploded, bro. It literally, like when you didn't even see, you barely seen the rod tip bend, like you barely seen the rod bend. You know what I mean? Yeah. It happened so fast where it just exploded. And I remember bringing it back. It wasn't at my connection. It was at the knot.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking too happened. From bumping rock, just the knot was just weak, man. So when with all of that pressure and when I set the hook like that, like I probably really didn't have to set the hook that hard. With braid, I probably should have leaned into it more, but dude, I had got no bites that day, and like I'm coming up on this area and I'm just like, dude, and I got bit, and just out of instinct, bro, I freaking welled into that fish.
Dude,
you know?
That was a big fish too. You could see the fucking splash.
Dude, you can see if you slow it, you can see the 10-inch mag draft out of its mouth and him shaking it back and forth.
Damn, dude.
You can see the bait like
oh, I'll put it in there for sure.
Yeah, he's like literally trying to shake the bait, you know?
What size of line are you using? So did you go back and put 20 pounds straight on everything? Or just that one rod you're using?
Just that one rod at that time. Everything else had, so on my other setup I had full mono, which that's the one I should have probably used, but that rod's just way too stout for the mag draft, you know? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, everything is bait specific. So, and I was just lazy. I was being lazy that day. And I tied on the mag draft, like, on that setup because I didn't want to go through anything else. And that's what happened. I would have been better off not even having the leader and just went straight braid. Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have lost it.
Because I do it, I wouldn't have lost it for sure. Yeah. I do it all the time, especially with that gauge of hook on there. I wouldn't have lost it. But it literally shattered, bro. Like you seen, I didn't even have a second of it. Was just like right when I set the hook, boom, gone.
Here's a question for you too, since I always like to ask tournament guys this, and I feel like you. Let me check these fucking cameras again. Big baits in tournaments.
Yeah,
because that's a hard thing. Like even talking to Maddie, like the time. I feel like, do you throw them a little more than the usual guy during tournament?
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll go big, right? You're just like, fuck
typically always go big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do always have conventional gear.
Like a percentage of the time, how much do you think you throw the big bait?
As far as tournaments
during
the day?
During tournaments.
During tournaments, I'll probably say I throw the big bait a good, probably 40%, dude.
Fuck, no way.
Yeah. 40%.
Shit. You've been doing really fucking good.
Yeah, I throw it like a good 40%, and sometimes depending on the time of year, probably just about 80 to almost 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
That's, dude.
You know, but like even on the ones that I shouldn't be throwing it, like it's probably a good 40. I still throughout that day, a good 40% of that day, like. I'm chucking the big baits.
Do you have a drop shot tied up on your?
I don't throw drop shot too much. For me, like I'm not like a numbers type of guy. Like it may sound stupid, you know. I'd rather go out because for me, I'm trying to win. I'm not trying to place or like I typically fish to win the tournament. You know what I mean? So that's why I swing for the fences. And believe me, I know it's not the smartest thing to do. Like as a tournament angler, like there's times where I do downsize, but I still typically target big fish, man.
So you'll throw like, say if you have to downsize,
I'll throw like a 6 or 7. I'll throw like a 6 or 7 inch swim bait.
Okay.
Which to people are still big,
yeah,
you know, but I'm not throwing like a 8 to 10 inch swim bait.
Yeah.
You know?
You throw Kitex and stuff too?
I mainly throw a spark shad, if anything.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw the spark shad, but I'll probably throw the 3 inch spark shad more than I throw like the 4 or 5 inch spark shad.
Why so?
Because like if I am gonna downsize to get bites, dude, 3 inch hands down just puts the whooping on them. Like you'll still catch fish.
So you won't do a lot of worm fishing then?
I don't do any.
Damn.
I don't do any worm fishing, dude.
So when you tournament fish, is it more you enjoy winning more than you enjoy like getting money?
Yes, I enjoy.
You know what I'm saying?
I enjoy winning more than I enjoy like placing for points or something like that, because I typically don't fish like the full series to get like angler points. You know, I
how many usually fish?
I try to fish. So the only full series that I fish is the night series. Like I will fish the night series, and then throughout the year, I like to fish like the Wombass, and I like to fish the Wild West. But I'll go and fish like the Havasu one.
Wild West is coming down here this year, maybe.
Yeah, they are again. Their second year. Yeah,
DVL.
They do 2 DVLs, and then they do 2 San Diego.
Oh shit!
They do 2 San Diego.
With the Wild West, you don't know until the week before or something. How does that work?
No, their schedule is out already.
Okay.
Yeah, their schedule's already out, so you know which ones that are coming up, and that's the hard thing for them. I get it. Like they do 2 at DVL. You know what I mean? Because that's pretty much in our area. That's the biggest lake that we have, dude. Fuck. So it's hard. It's hard for them, especially to have a pro series. You know, to run a tournament of that caliber. They have to go to the bigger lakes, and that's why I really feel like on the west which they have a northern series too that they do. This is just Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all we have.
I wonder if they're going to bring the Apex down. They're
not down here,
no.
But it has started.
Yeah.
Their closest one they did was
just Mojave, right?
Mojave, okay. Yeah. That was the closest one they did. Because that as a pro tour like that, bro, that's too small. Yeah, that's too small. It's just it's not gonna house that type of fishing. You know.
No, that'd be cool to see something big down here, but just we don't have the fucking lake.
We just don't have the lake. So, like I said, 4-hour drive, like Mojave, Havasu, it's not bad. Meade, which is tough, but hey, it's an even field, so it's tough for everybody. Yeah, so right? It's like, there ain't nobody that wins it. The same person wins it every year. It's always somebody different, So, like, I think that's pretty much the only southern, West Coast tournaments that we can do,
Yeah. Because
our lakes are just too small. Other than that, I do, just the local NBW or ABA series stuff,
That's always fun, huh?
Yeah, it's really fun just to get out with the guys. You fish with the same
partner usually, right?
Yes, I do with the same partner.
Yeah.
My buddy Gabe. Shout out to my boy Gabe.
Yeah, he's a cool guy too.
Yeah, really cool head. Just real humble and quiet. He's not the type that's like social media crazy or anything like that. He just likes to stay low key and just likes to fish, man.
Yeah, for sure. And then they can check out your do you have a YouTube channel and Instagram?
No, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm, thinking about doing one, but if I do, it's gonna be more of probably like if I start doing more music related stuff, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people been hitting me up like, yo, bro, you need to drop an album. So I'm thinking about doing maybe an EP this year.
Like fishing EP.
Yeah,
that would be fucking sick,
fishing
dude.
EP this year. A lot of people have been telling me, they want to be able to get my stuff, but it's just all stuff I've been doing for fun. So I'm thinking about this year, doing a full EP.
Yeah. That's
fishing related and go
I'm
from
sure
there,
everyone
man.
would love to fucking hear that.
Yeah, dude. It's just some dope stuff to roll to after, hitting the lake, on the way to the lake, you know what I mean?
Well, especially now I feel like a lot of dudes, a lot more people are into hip hop that are fishing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's a transition, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Where you get more people that are into different music, not just like maybe Led Zeppelin or fucking
right.
Which nothing against
and
that.
And me, I love it all, dude. I'll do some alternative, crossover stuff too. I'll be emceeing on them, but like musically,
of course.
So
we may have to do something.
I'm telling you, man. It's all about the production, man. Any of the heads out there, man.
There's a shitload.
Shoot me some stuff, man. I'll start getting down to maybe putting something together.
Fuck yeah. Well, thanks again, dude, for coming on. Thanks for doing this for me.
Hey, I appreciate it,
and bringing that footage in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, for
Always.
Sure. All right, take care, man.
Yo, you too. Peace out.